Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with Scary-ish Podcast.
Woo!
Ugh. I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to read you some scary stories.
Indeed we are. Thank you to all of you who've joined us. We're going to be doing the Storytime episode where we read your homegrown horrors. Now, Robin, what is a homegrown horror?
So, homegrown horrors are the awesome, paranormal, supernatural, weird, coincidental maybe stories that have happened to you or your family or your friends. We've had some really heartfelt ones and some really hilarious ones.
Some really scary ones
some really,
sometimes.
really scary ones. And it's the community that lets these episodes happen, that helps this happen.
These are the stories that you folks submit us, like she said. And if you'd like to submit your story, please email storytime@scarish.com. You can also go to scarish.com and click on Contact Us. Send us your story that way. You can also tweet at us at ScarishPod. Instagram is at ScarishPodcast. And one of the best places that you can reach us is Facebook.com/ScarishPodcast. Message us directly there. So those are the best ways to reach out to us. There's a bunch of ways. So if you guys want to get a hold of us, feel free to do so. And we're always willing to listen. We had someone email us this week like, hey, please don't share this on the podcast.
Took care of it.
I just want to share this with you, and we're like, thank you for that. And we also had another one that Robin's referring to that's like, hey, I sent my story, it wasn't done yet. Please don't share this on the podcast if you get to it before I get done. So yeah, that stuff happens. So just let us know, communicate with us. We're very
active. I try my best to be very active in the social media and make sure I'm checking our Instagram and our Twitter and our Facebook, and we want to build this community and be a part of it. So boop.
Indeed. So who's going to go first this evening? Are you going to go first, or am I going to go first?
I haven't even thought about it.
So clearly I'm going to go first. So this first one subject is time for a story, y'all. And
it's story time. What are the odds?
It's perfect, dear God. And it starts out like this. Before I tell this story, I'm going to say that you can share this on your podcast if you want, and that I'm on mobile, so expect mistakes ahead. But let's get right into the story. By the way, there are no basements, smiley face. Well, thank you for that. And hopefully any of the mistakes were caught by my mom. Shout out to my mom for still editing these emails for us. We appreciate you. And the story starts out like this. I was around 7 or 8 when this happened, so it's been a while. I was putting away my clothes that my mom had folded for me. Oh, I miss those days. That my mom had folded for me when I started to hear scratching above me. It was a quick but heavy pitter-patter that only lasted a second, but my already paranoid self screamed for my mom to come into my closet. She ran up, most likely thinking it was a spider since I was deathly afraid at the time. I'm still deathly afraid of spiders.
It's human.
It was a human, or it's human to be afraid of spiders?
Be afraid of spiders.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, 6924/7.
6924/7 is a pretty solid name. Who just followed us on Twitch. Also, shout out to IRL Tatiana, who followed and subscribed to us today, and shout out to Black Canary 1117, who followed us during the week, and Jaxie Babe, who subscribed during the week, and Horse Loves Nothing, who subscribed during the week, and This Great Coast, who subscribed during the week.
Thank you
folks all
so
did that
much.
in the off time, and sometimes this thing doesn't update, and I can't give the shout outs for the people who do it when we're not live. It actually did today, so thank you to all of you.
Sometimes Dead's better.
I hate you so much. So, the mom's running upstairs because she thinks this is a spider. I told her what happened, to which she sighed and said it was most likely mice, and that she would get my dad to put rat poison in the attic to kill them off. In parentheses, forgot to mention I had an attic. So, that's kind of creepy, but not really.
It's not as bad as a basement.
Sometimes it's worse, because that's usually where you catch people living when they live inside your house.
We watched a movie recently where the guy went up to the attic, and the girl was in the attic.
What girl?
It was like...
What was
the girl was possessed, but nobody thought that she was the one that was possessed. And so he went up to the attic to check because he heard a noise, and the girl was up there and she was all possessed and she murdered a rat or something.
Oh, I don't know. I remember watching a crappy movie like 3 months ago with that guy from True Blood, but I don't remember any other movie where there's a girl in the attic that's possessed. So you're going to have to give me more details or remember the name of it.
We watched so many.
I think this might be one that you might have watched at work, because I really don't remember any of this.
No,
so.
I don't remember.
Okay, cool. I'm going to get back to the email. I was relieved to hear it was not a monster like my mind was thinking, but I wouldn't be telling you this if there wasn't more to it than mice. Sad face. Later that night, when my child brain... I had a raccoon live in my attic. I've told that story. Raccoons are monsters when they live in your attic. They're just looking for a way out of the cold.
They eat fuzzy
but they're
little garbage
so annoying.
cats. I don't know. They're just
trash pandas.
Trash pandas.
Garbage cats.
Garbage cats.
I guess that's another thing you could call them. So the kid's mind is running because he hears these noises coming from the attic. I started to hear the same scratching in the walls, still quick and heavy. I thought about how my mom said it was mice and tried to sleep through it. But a few minutes later, the scratching turned to heavy knocking in the walls. This terrified me, which I think it would terrify anyone, even if you weren't 7.
It's like that show Haunting at Hill House.
Was there knocking in that?
Yeah, there's pounding on the girls are in the bed. Spoilers, if you guys haven't watched it, you should go watch it right now anyway. But the girls are in the bedroom and the walls are like getting pounded on all around their room. Oh my God.
What? I remember that part. That's
Okay.
a really good part. It just sounded weird the way you said it. The walls are getting pounded on.
Oh my God. Okay, anyway, yes.
Got it. I remember that part. It is scary.
Yes.
Okay, so they're hearing the knocking coming through the walls. This terrified me, and yet I didn't call my mom. In parentheses, this surprises me to this day. The knocking would move around the room very slowly until it was right behind my head, to which it stopped for a few minutes and then started up again, repeating what it did earlier. Somehow,
I would freak out.
I would too. Somehow I fell asleep during this, and when I woke up the next morning,
How?
I still didn't tell my mom what happened. I did ask my sister, in parentheses, who shared a room with me, if she heard it, to which she said no. That's crazy if you're experiencing that and there's another person in the room with you that doesn't hear it and doesn't wake up. Because it just makes you even more paranoid about something going on.
Because you think you're crazy.
You do. So, okay, she said she didn't hear this. This would go on for 6 months. And at one point, my sister woke up during it and was scared out of her mind. But she has never mentioned it to me, so I think she forgot. There would still be scratching in the walls and in the closet, but I felt safe as there was a light to turn on during that moment. And there was a light to turn on during that moment. It started. But after 6 months, it all just stopped. No more scratching or knocking. I was delighted to finally sleep without all of that dreaded scratching. So when I expressed my happiness to my mom that the scratching and knocking in my room was finally gone, she got confused. She then told me that my room was completely shut off from my attic, explaining that there was no way there could be scratching in there. Even if it's completely shut off, mice can still find their way into your walls. They can dig holes through pretty much all the drywall in your house, unless this is an old house with brick.
Do they eat it or do they claw it?
They do both, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they can either claw through it, and like they can get through wood sometimes if they're persistent enough and it's bad wood. If it's all brick house, I don't know. But
I mean, how much wood could a rat chuck?
I hate you so much. So kids super freaked out because the mom's like, yeah, there was no way these things could have gotten into your room. And then she continues on to say, even though my brother's room was right above the attic, how would a room be above the attic? Shout out to Zwazzles, who just subscribed to us for the 6th month in a row. It said, love you, just stopping in to refresh. Have a good night, spooky familia, smiley face.
The room being above the attic, that's possible. Or above the bedroom.
See, to me, attic? No, he said room above the attic. Like, the attic is usually the top of your house, if I'm not mistaken.
Then yes, that I don't understand.
Okay, she told me that my room was completely shut off from my attic, explaining that there was no way there could be scratching in there and absolutely no knocking. But what also confused her was that our room was the only room that experienced this, even though my brother's room was right above the attic, which should have picked up on the scratching and knocking. So I guess this is an attic between, I don't know. I've never seen a house like this, so this is interesting. I was totally terrified and wouldn't sleep in my room for a week. The knocking and scratching never started up. I even forgot about it at one point until I was 13 years old. I was in my closet again looking for clothes to wear when that same scratching started up again. Remembering what had happened to me years earlier, I noped the hell out of there and decided I would rather go in PJs to school than go back in there.
You know, in college, girls do that all the time. I was
gonna say, yeah, that's a common thing
girls
in college.
Go in their PJs and their fucking Uggs and like
they get yelled at by people outside.
Oh my God.
Continuing the thing, but my mom forced me to put clothes on, so I ran back in there and picked up whatever clothes I had lying around and got out of there. It hasn't happened since, and I hope it never does again. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing spring break, and I hope you read this soon.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
I had a really good spring break. It was
a
nice.
fun time. I was we went to Disneyland on your spring break, and the day we were at Disneyland is when I got offered the job. So
and we did so much. I was explaining to my coworkers the other day because they asked me, "Oh, you went to Disneyland?" I was like, "Yeah," and I told them everything we did in that 6-hour span, and they could not believe how much we did in 6 hours.
That's funny. Yeah, we had a really good day.
It was
Disney.
insane. It was
like
just
a
ride
really good day
after ride after ride in 6 hours. It was incredible.
I'm really curious about the layout of this house. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but like having a room above an attic, it sounds like it's a crawl space between like the second and third floor or the first and second floor.
Well,
it's really hard for me to picture.
Say we had an entryway into
I'm
the
like,
attic.
you're looking up at the ceiling.
Yeah, so say we had a little entryway into the whatever is above us, right?
That'd be the attic.
And then there are places that have the like extra little bedrooms that are kind of like nook type things almost. So maybe it's like you can get up into that space and there's a little space between the levels. And then above that, they've built like
so
a
they'd
little...
have to go through the attic to get to their room?
No, like somewhere there's a different entryway up into it or something. You know
I
what
don't
I
know.
mean?
I'll have to go ahead and check out more HGTV to get more familiar with some of these housing plans.
I love
or
HGTV.
What do they call them? Floor plans. With some of these floor plans, because that one's kind of weird. But thank you for sending us your story. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so
Hopefully
much.
you don't hear scratching now that we've read this to everyone that listens. So that'd be super creepy.
I could not handle... I mean, I used to live in a house that had vaulted ceilings, and we would constantly hear noises and scratches and stuff like that. But I think it's because we lived in the middle of nowhere and animals got into everything. So even if we didn't have an attic, they were in the walls somewhere. They had to be. But I mean, could have been ghosts. Who knows?
Lots of things get into walls.
But it's
so
definitely...
It happens a lot.
Where I lived, it was windy too. So you're hearing the wind blowing on the house, making it creak.
Right.
And so it could be anything. It could also be ghosts and demons, but it could be anything.
Right on.
Alrighty. So this next email is from Anna, or Anna, whichever way you like to say it. I'm sure there's a particular way you say your name, but I can't tell from words on a screen. So this one goes, "Hey, Robin and Adam."
Hello.
Hello. Sorry I'm super awkward, but I love your podcast. I've listened to it on Spotify for almost a year now. I've been debating sending my scary stories because I never found them to be that interesting, but I just heard one of the recent podcasts about night terrors, and I figured, why not?
Cool.
I also don't mind if y'all share it on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's being shared right now to the world. So, my friend Andrew and I were hanging out in his dorm watching anime like the dorks we are. Hello. That's the coolest thing to do. I remember, when we first met, he was like, do you watch Sword Art Online? I'm like, do I watch Sword Art Online? Yes, I do. Hello. That's a good thing. Anyway, when he started to tell me about how he's gotten some creepy vibes in his room, I, being the gigantic baby I am, told him to keep it to himself because I didn't need that in my head. When I was sure
I get something bad's happening to you, but you need to not talk to me about it, okay? I can't handle things that aren't happening to me, so stop talking to me. That is hilarious.
I didn't need that in my head when I was sure I was going to be crashing on his couch. Well, he ended up telling me about all the creepy stuff he's experienced in there anyway. Douche. It's like, don't do it. No, but I have to do it.
I have to tell someone. Sometimes people have to get something off their chest. They're like, you're the chosen one.
It's like It Follows. It's like, sorry, I got to do it. You need to have this.
It's a bit different telling someone a ghost story and banging someone so they get murdered before you. But yeah, I guess it's like on a similar level.
So, creepy stuff he's experienced. Anyway, such as stuff being knocked off counters, the TV being turned on randomly, shadows, and all that fun stuff. I ended up getting spooked, but after a while, I completely forgot, which is a good thing. You're probably able to sleep and not have night... Oh, wait, this is probably where this is going.
I was going to say, yeah, this email's about night terrors, so we know exactly where this is
Well,
going.
flash forward, and you guessed it, the witching hour. I was starting to drift to sleep when I swore I heard a voice whisper to me, "Hey, let's play a game." Hey, and then you got to chop off your foot. Oh my God, of course you'd go there.
Play.
If you scream out Andrew's name, you lose. That's this game. So something whispers, "Hey, let's play a game." If you scream out Andrew's name, you lose.
That's pretty weird, but I think I can manage.
Weird. This freaked me out hella hard because it was a deeper voice than my friend's voice, but I couldn't stop myself from sleeping. I ended up getting thrown into a series of nightmares where my friends would give me a vague hint of what I had to do to leave the nightmare, but they were talking like they had no idea who I was or had any regard to my well-being. It's probably your subconscious to like taking people that you've seen or and it's just doing these things to try and get you out of it, but you know what I mean? That's why they don't seem to care about you. It's because it's just your mind trying to get you to wake up.
I would love to try and be able to explain to you night terrors, but as a person who has suffered night terrors, I can tell you there is no explaining the things that happened in mine. It was just bizarre and horrifying, and there was no control whatsoever.
Anytime I'd get out of a scene, the nightmare would shift to where I'd be right back in a new scene with something doing the demonic crawl towards me. I'm trying to think of a really good example of what that would look like. Just like that long-haired chick, just like crawling on her arm.
In the ring?
Yeah, just like...
That's what I think when I think of demonic crawl, is the
Yeah.
chick crawling out of the TV in the ring.
Yeah. I kept trying to wake myself up.
And again, like Robin said earlier, which you folks that are listening to the audio version didn't hear, Asians grow their hair out, and it's long and black. That's just another example.
I keep trying to wake myself up, but couldn't. Now, this is especially strange to me because I've had vivid night terrors since I was 4 or 5 years old, so I had to experience waking myself up or manipulating the nightmares to my advantage. But I could not, for the life of me, get out of this night terror. At first, it wasn't that big of a deal to me because 9 times out of 10, I have the same recurring night terrors. But this one was completely different from anything I've ever experienced. When I went through 6 or so of the scenes, I finally broke down and shouted out my friend's name! Something bad's supposed to happen, though.
You were told not to do that. There was one thing you were supposed to. There was one thing you were supposed to do, and
Dang
it was
it,
that.
Coral!
It was to not do that. Come on, man.
After that, I was immediately able to wake up, but when I did, I felt like someone was watching me. I thought it might have been the shadowy figures I see from time to time, but this felt different from them. It felt like it wanted to hurt and scare me. At that point, I got my purse and noped the fuck out of there, leaving my friend to deal with whatever the hell was in his room. That's kind of rude, like... See ya, bruh. I'm not staying. If you wake up, I'm gone. Just think I'm dead because I'm never coming back.
Just think I'm dead. Wow.
I proceeded to get in my car and have a full panic attack for a good hour or so.
Wow, that's
I
terrifying.
still have no idea what any of that was about. I typically shrug off things like this, given I've seen/heard things since I was little. But this event messed me up pretty bad. I still refuse to stay in his room at night, and if he wants to live with his supernatural roommate, that's on him. I, however, am not going to be that dumb girl from the scary movies that thinks it's good to explore the haunted house and dies in the process. That's all I have for that lovely experience. Sorry if it was long or boring. I thought I'd share it and see that y'all, what y'all thought about it. Sorry if it's poorly written. It was written pretty good.
It's great.
Or either that or Linda edited it really well. So
I'm pretty sure it was really well written. So
I have really bad dyslexia. Whoa! That's really impressive. If you wrote all that and you have dyslexia, kudos to you because that is hard to deal with. And thus typically miss errors. Thanks for reading this if you want. I have a lot of other creepy, unexplainable experiences that I could share. Once again, love the podcast, and I can't wait to hear the next one, Anna. Thank you so much for sharing that.
We appreciate you sending that. It was not too long. It was not boring.
It's
it was really
good.
And we want to hear the other ones. I, in particular, want to hear. You said that you've seen and heard things since you were little, like your whole life. I want to hear about those, and then any other stories that you're willing to share with us. Please send them. And anyone else who has told us, like, I have more, just let me know. If we've said we want them and you haven't sent them yet, now's the time.
Yeah, send them to us. We love your stories, even if it's like little short ones, like you have a whole bunch of experiences, but they're all really short. Compile them all into one and be like, this happened here, this happened here, this happened here.
I have one that's like multiple stories, like back to back.
We just want to hear whatever you guys want to share. So share with us.
Please, indeed. But yeah, that's a good story, and thank you for sharing it. I'm going to go ahead and move into my next email, which is the third of the show, and this one's subject is a couple of my spookies, smiley face. Quick pause to those of you listening to the audio version. I screwed up the intro to this like 5 times, and I've noticed when I edit, sometimes we talk about some serious shit. Like we talk about like mental illness or stuff that we want to bring awareness to, and because we go off on a tangent that I eventually edit out, by the time we get back into the next thing, we're laughing about something, or we're laughing about the fact that I completely screwed up the transition. So it goes from like, yeah, that's just some really serious shit. Anyways, and we sound like the craziest people on the planet, and I want to apologize for that. That said, I'm going to read this friggin' email now. Starts out like this. Hi, Adam and Robin.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Haley. I'm 25, and I live in Oklahoma City. That's pretty cool.
Cool. Never been there. Wait, where is that? Oklahoma?
It's in Oklahoma.
There's some places,
yeah,
because
there's some
Kansas
places.
City is not in Kansas.
Michigan City's in Indiana.
What the
Just
F?
saying. I've been listening to your podcast since you read my brother's stories back in November, in parentheses, I think.
Cool.
He wrote a story about the time he was little and told our dad he was talking to Grandma Hazel, I remember this one, and said she helps me sometimes, which I remember happening because I'm 3.5 years older than him, and I remember our dad getting crazy goosebumps from what my brother said. I love scary everything, so all of your content is straight up my alley. I want to give you a shout out for being a good big sister and not setting your brother on fire when you heard him say that, because that would be some creepy shit.
I've been very mean to my younger sister when we were younger, so...
She doesn't let you forget about it either.
Nope.
The email continues.
I don't let her forget it either.
That's
I
true.
remember what you did to my hair.
Wow. The email continues anyway, like you knew we were going to do that. I feel like I have a lot of scary stories, but the best ones are from my old job, so I've decided to include a few from there and one heartwarming one to round it out. It's a pretty good spread. I enjoy it. You can absolutely read these on the podcast. Like everyone always says, sorry if this is super long. Never be sorry.
We like long ones. I mean,
we sure
do. Oh
my
God. This isn't episode 69, okay? We're at episode 60.
Yeah, we had a lot of sex jokes in episode 69, which was like a really highly downloaded episode. I think we picked stuff that people wanted to hear. Or I don't know what happened, but we were very happy about it. The email continues, I'm a therapist now. That's good. We have some emails to send back to you because I got some shit I need to work through.
Oh my God.
I'm a therapist now working on my full license, but I worked for 4 years at a nonprofit that did forensic interviews for child abuse victims.
Wow. That is incredible.
Yeah. For 3 years, I worked the front desk, and for 1 year, I worked as a family advocate. To give you some background, the house was built in 1895. It's 2 stories with a basement, in parentheses, sorry, Robin, and it's had a lot of work done to accommodate the need for more offices.
Thank you so much, Woo Scariest.
Shout out to Woo Scariest for subscribing on Twitch for the 2nd month in a row. We appreciate you so very much. So, 2 levels and a basement. That's scary. Had a lot of work done because there need to be more offices. What?
I'm just thinking like 2 girls in a basement. I'm just like, or two
She's
and a half
trying to
men
make a
or...
2 girls 1 cup
No.
reference here. I'm just gonna say it again. Never seen the video. Never fucking will. Gross. The people that watched it, you're sick. So,
I've seen it. I'm not sick.
You're sick. Going on. The entire campus is made up of 5 old homes that were all turned into offices, and I spent 3 years in the big main house and 1 in an annex house across the street. There have been several stories about people having creepy things happen before I got there, and I didn't have my first experience for about 7 months after I started. And now we begin. And this first story is called First, in parentheses, and Scariest.
Ooh.
We used to keep toys in the kitchen during Christmas time so the kids could pick a present to take home after the interview. I got in the habit of keeping the door closed so the kids couldn't see the toys before it was time and it would ruin the surprise. That totally makes sense. The door to the basement was just inside the kitchen, and it was a pocket door that just opened to stairs. I was putting the last of the Christmas decorations into the basement as we were about to be closed through the end of New Year's. I had heard stories about one of my coworkers having an experience in the basement, so when I was walking back up the stairs, I got some serious heebie-jeebies and ran the rest of the way up the stairs and shut the basement door.
I do that.
Shut the kitchen door, and then finished putting the lid back on the trash can and putting the crayon bucket back on its shelf. Yeah, you just sprint up the stairs sometimes when you're in a basement.
Well, not even just that, though. If I'm in some place, even at work, if I'm in a darker corner of the building and there's no one and I feel weird, I will start to either speed walk or just run. Or like when I'm in a bathroom by myself at a random like restaurant or a place while we're out and I'm the only one in there and it's dark and creepy, or I just watched a horror movie.
Dark and full of terrors.
I will literally do my business, go really fast, not even look up at the mirrors or anything, do my thing, and run out the door.
I can confirm this is true. She's taken the quickest pee I've ever seen in a, Cheesecake Factory. And it was like, the bathroom was really far away, and I swear she turned the corner, and then she was right behind me. And she was like, I need to sit back down, okay? Yeah, when I'm in a creepy situation, in my head, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm a badass, I'm like, fuck you. Like, I just think that to myself, like, I'm not running. And on occasion, though, I have broken and been like, oh, my God, I'm going to die. I had one time in college, I was walking to my car. It was like 10 o'clock at night. The parking lot is empty, but I had gotten there in the morning. I used to have a school schedule, which was like 10 to 10:30 at night. It was horrible. And I was walking to my car, and my car is as far away as it can get. Because when I got there at 10 in the morning, the entire parking lot is full. So it's like half a mile to my car. And I'm walking, not thinking much, thinking about like how much I hate my life or whatever. And I'm pretty close to my car, and I'm walking, and one of the street light goes off. Like the lights in the parking lot just goes click and like goes off.
No, that means there's a demon.
That happens to people sometimes though. And I think a lot of people when that happens are like, oh, there's a demon or a vampire. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not one of those people. And then I kept walking, and then the next light went off.
No!
And I was like, if you were anyone else,
shut up.
You'd be freaked out and you'd be running to your car. And I'm walking, and at this point, it's like you're kind of in slow motion, and I'm looking at that third light that's about to come up, and I'm like, all right, that fucking light goes out. I'm sprinting to my car, and I'm just walking and walking. and I get parallel with the light and I walk past it and it doesn't go out. I'm like, cool. And right when I think like you're safe and I have this like sigh of relief, boom, the fucking light goes out. And I took off, man. Just boom. I sprinted straight to my car, got in, turned my car on, just took off out of the parking lot. Like, you're going to have to catch me, Satan. Like, I was terrified after I got done telling myself, like, people are dumb. Oh, that's creepy. Fuck me. Those are my thoughts, basically.
I refuse to park that far away.
It's different for girls, though. It's different for women. You guys have to worry about, like, men raping people because they're horrible human beings.
And so at where I go to school, UNLV, woo woo.
You lean back away from your microphone.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a parking lot, and it's huge. It stretches super freaking far. They use it for everything. The rodeo, they use it for whatever NCAA tournaments that happen there. You could possibly park all the way on the edge, and it would take you like 10, 20 minutes to walk all the way to your class. That's on the edge of the actual like campus where all the buildings are. And I refuse to park far at all because when you're out there at night, there are no lights in the parking lot.
That's dumb. That's super dumb.
Yeah, there are no lights. And so you're just walking in the fucking dark, and it's really freaking far. And so I refuse to, especially because as someone who is not at all fit, I don't trust people. So I'm just
Are you saying you don't think you're going to be able to get away if you have to run?
I would probably die.
Okay.
So
good information. Yeah. Please don't stalk Robin. Okay. She's going to murder you if you do. I'm going to get back to this email. So they just ran up, for those of you who are like, these fucking tangents. She just ran up the stairs, slammed the door to the kitchen, and put away this crayon bucket. It goes on to say, I sat down at my desk, and maybe a few minutes later, I heard something plastic hitting the floor really loudly and roll around. I thought the crayons had fallen, and I was annoyed because I was going to have to pick up like 200 crayons. When I looked around the corner, I saw that the snap-on lid on the trash can was about 6 feet away from the trash can itself, and the kitchen door was cracked open. I ran up the stairs to my friend's office, in parentheses, and if we're being honest, I was yelling, Jess, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. You turn into a My Chemical Romance song. And found that everyone else still in the office that afternoon was in her office and had been for a while. So basically, it's like there's no one in the office that could have done that to you, which is just super, super
I think that's smart, though, to yell out, like, I'm not okay.
When I'm not okay, I yell, I need an adult. Like, legitimately, I yell that. So that's probably a good thing.
Not fire?
Tell your friend, I yell fire when Robin won't stop harassing me, but no, I yell out, I need an adult. The email goes on to say, other things that happened. The therapy dog we had for a while wouldn't go up the stairs in the annex house I worked in. He would sit at the landing of the stairs and growl towards the top of them and had to be carried up the stairs.
But he would still go in.
He'd go into the house but refused to go up the stairs and would growl up the stairs.
But if you carry him up, then he'll hang out in the room.
He would go up. It just says he'd had to be carried up. It does not elaborate.
So there must be. It's something about the stairs that are scary.
I don't know. Goes on to say, and these are kind of like bullet points. We heard breathing coming from a small locked storage closet behind a coworker's desk.
That's fucked.
That coworker had someone trapped in there.
There in our bathroom at work, there's like a silver panel, and sometimes I give myself anxiety thinking there's something on that other side or that something's gonna come out of the metal panel or something like that. I don't know if you guys ever get.
Give yourself anxiety?
Get scared. Like, make yourself scared from small, stupid things like that shouldn't make you scared, but you scare yourself.
I try and not do that to myself. Like, in my life, I don't need any more anxiety. So I'm like, cool. Set your mind to not do that to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back to these bullet points. They're not actually bulleted. They're just, like, triple spaced. So I know that it's a new thing. That's just, like, a quick blurb about something creepy that happened. So we just got to the one where there was someone locked in someone's storage closet. Got it.
But not actually locked in the storage closet.
I just heard breathing coming from there. Blinds would sway and rattle when the air conditioning wasn't running and no one had touched them. Once this happened in full daylight while a child's mother was the only one in the waiting room, and we just looked at each other for a while in complete shock until I walked over and stopped them with my hand and then pretended like nothing was wrong. When you're
my heart would be like racing.
When you're the person in charge in a situation like that, you have to pretend like everything's okay.
Oh my God.
In the second house I worked in, myself and the other coworker shared
What?
Sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, my foot making the noise.
That sounded like a straight up fart.
No.
I felt it in my feet over here.
Yeah, I know.
And she's saying it was her. That was just my shoe. What the fuck ever, Robin?
I took my socks off, and my feet are
no
fucking
one's
wet.
buying it.
Okay, look. Look.
Okay, she's
Fuck.
been able to redo
My
that.
foot
so
is wet because it's hot in here,
it's very
and I'm sliding it
distracting.
against my
That's
seat.
all I'm saying. I'm just trying to read,
You're a
and my
dick.
feet were like. I was like, what
It's
the
my
fuck
chair.
was that? Okay, I'm getting back to this now. And the other coworker I shared the house with would hear the child covers on the doorknobs rattling by themselves at least once a week down the hall when no one else was in the house.
Oh my gosh, I would find a new job super quick.
Yeah, this is super creepy stuff, but it's really good. And now it says, last story. I had a stalker when I was in my freshman/sophomore year of high school, and therefore, obviously, I have a hard time with TV shows or movies that have stalking as a theme.
Like Stalker.
Yeah, I was going to say Stalker is probably not a good one. I used to watch Ghost Whisperer when I got home from school my senior year, and there was an episode where the theme was just that. I decided to watch it to see if I could do it and handle it, in parentheses, can't avoid things forever, right? It's always good to like dip your toe back in the waters and see how you're able to handle it. The best way I can explain that to people who've never suffered a trauma, have you ever eaten a food and then gotten sick afterwards and been like, can never eat that again?
I'll eat it again.
Happened to me with El Pollo Loco, didn't eat it for 2 years. However, I can eat it again. Going back to this. Turns out I couldn't, and I had started to cry and needed to change the channel. When I sat up to turn the channel and go splash water on my face, I felt a cold, firm pressure on the top right part of my forehead, and I was overwhelmed by the smell of my grandpa, who had passed the year before. He always kissed my forehead when he saw me, and I couldn't feel that it was
chills.
and I could feel that it was him. When I went to the bathroom, my face didn't look anything like anything had happened. Usually if I cry, my nose and my eyes are red for much longer than the time I'm actually sad. I knew he had stepped in to make me feel better, and I felt completely calm to the point that when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't find a single sign that something had been wrong. That is really good.
That's really good.
So those are a few of my stories. I didn't want to overload you guys, even though you always say the emails are never too long. They really aren't. I appreciate you taking the time to read my stories, and I have to tell you that I adore you guys, and I love listening to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate that so much. I've had a hard time lately, and you really brighten my day. Let me know when you're going to read it so I can tell my brother. I will send you an email right after this and let you know that it's coming out on Friday. Also, being a therapist, I have a lot of random knowledge about mental health. If you guys ever have a question about the history of mental health institutions,
thank you, Josh Lee Matt, for following.
Parentheses, comma, institutions, comma, or specific stuff like sleep paralysis and hypogogic. You can read that. I'm going to punt that one.
Hypnagogic,
hypnopompic, hallucinations, and ones that happen when you're falling asleep / waking up. I know these stories come in a lot. Feel free to ask. I love geeking out about my career. That's awesome. I love that you love what you do.
Your career is amazing. So cool.
It really is.
I can't imagine having that as a career. That's awesome.
Super awesome. And it ends. Thank you for everything you do, and keep on creeping on. Well, thank you for sending that in, Haley. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank
it was
you
also
so much.
really,
it was really
effing good.
I really like when people add all these cool experiences they've had, and seriously, it doesn't have to be one big long story, guys. It could be like this happened and this happened and this happened, and it's just like your life is a whole bunch of coincidences or weird things that have just happened to you. You know what I mean? But yeah, thank you so much, Haley. It was cool.
Great. That was amazing. And again, if you have any more, send them on in. So good stuff.
All right, so this next email is from our friend Spooky Zora.
Who is in Twitch right now. I just looked over and saw Spooky Zora's name pop up.
The title is "My Partner Got Sucked into My Night Terror."
That sucks.
That sucks.
Get it?
But it's ha 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 ha.
Did you really not get that?
Yeah, I just got it. Okay, so this one goes. Hey, Robin and Adam. Hello. Spooky Zora here from the Discord. They and them pronouns, FYI, just in case you...
I know.
Right.
On the Discord, they have they and them in their name so that folks know.
Smart.
It is very smart.
Here's a scary and hilarious story about the time my partner got sucked into my night terror, which I'd love for you to share on the podcast. So here we go.
Here we go.
I want to say I started getting night terrors in my early 20s, but I never had one when my partner and I slept in the same bed. Until now. He knew I had them, as every time I have one, I love telling people the story, but apparently he wasn't quite prepared. We went to bed like normal.
You are not prepared.
We went to bed like normal around 11 p.m. That's early, man.
11 p.m. I have to start going to bed at that time. I get up at 6 now. It is hard. This is my 4th cup of coffee today. I'll probably have one more. I am surviving on coffee right now. Hashtag just saying.
Cool. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then I wake up, look to my right, and I see a horned, shadowy figure standing on my side of the bed with its arm outstretched towards me. Freaky. However, at this point, I've been having terrors for a while, so I know the drill. I start yelling involuntarily and flailing my arms trying to fight it. But my rational brain knows it will probably go away. This all happens in seconds. I realize it's not real, start to calm down, and then I realize that someone else is yelling. It's my partner, and at that moment, I think, holy fuck, there's something there. If it wasn't actually a demon, then some man was in my room. If my partner is yelling, it must mean he sees it too. So, instead of disappearing like it should, the thing stays there, and I start clawing at the bed covers, trying to get away from it towards my partner's side of the bed. Story break to remind you of my them and they pronouns. Aw, that's nice. Good, thank you.
Thank you for the reminder.
Then my brain catches up again. I realize it's not real, so I stop yelling and flailing and it goes away. But my partner is still freaking out. I start to try and calm him down, and that's when my brother slams into the room ready to fight. And I think, holy fuck, I'm not wearing pants. Just like Adam.
Wow.
And I throw the blankets back over myself. My partner can finally talk, and I realize he's saying, you're yelling, you're yelling. And I shout back, you're yelling louder. Oh my God. And then my mom runs into the room. Oh, it's become a family affair. So my brother, quickly realizing everything is relatively normal, besides the grown adults sitting up in bed and yelling at the top of their lungs, and he leaves. My mom is still scared as fuck and asking me if I'm okay, which I tell her that I am. And my partner is not yelling anymore, but he's still wide-eyed and shaking. After everyone leaves my room, my partner and I get a chance to talk, and he tells me his side of the story. From what he remembers, he thinks that I was probably moving a lot in my sleep because in his dream, I started convulsing like I was possessed or something. Then I started yelling, and that's when he thinks that he woke up and started freaking out because I probably actually was convulsing. I've never seen what I look like when I have a night terror, but I know I move a lot. I explained that I was having a night terror, and he says, that's what they're like? We need to do something about this. Why, yes. Yes, you do.
They're called night terrors for a reason. There's nightmares and there's night terrors, and night terrors are much, much worse.
I just start laughing. Once I'm out of the night terror, I usually instantly stop being scared. It took my partner a longer time to calm down than I did. His eyes kept darting around the room like he was trying to see something, and he sort of freaked out when I tried to kiss him because I think I got in his face too quickly while he was still scared. I would have headbutted. Like, when
sorry about that. I just bashed you with my forehead.
You know what I mean? You jerk. So if someone's like coming at your face real fast and then you...
I'm sorry. It's the episode 69 carrying over. You said jerk, and I was like, keep your shit together, Diaz. And then you said coming at your face, and I was like, damn it.
Whatever. Moving on then. But we watched some funny YouTube videos and eventually calmed down. When I looked at the clock after it happened, it was only 12 a.m. Bet you thought I was going to say 3. That would have been my guess, yes. We had only been asleep for an hour. Every time I tell this story, I have to laugh when I remember him shouting, you're yelling, you're yelling. And I said back, you're yelling louder. Thanks for doing what you guys do. I have so much fun listening to all the stories and all your banter. Talk to you in the next story. Spooky Zora.
Thank you, Spooky Zora, for sending that. Spooky Zora is the perfect example of someone who said, I have a lot of stories. I'll send them if you want. And we said, yes, please send them. And they've broken apart their stories into multiple emails and sent them in. And I want folks to know it is 100% okay to do that. And we truly appreciate it. So thank you, Spooky Zora, for sending that in. I love the idea of someone screaming, you're yelling louder. Because I just hear you yelling that louder than someone else. And it's just ironic and hilarious. So thank you for that. Sorry about your night terrors. Yeah. I've had those before. Those suck. I want to go ahead and thank everyone who sent their stories in for us to read tonight. We really appreciate you folks. And again, if you have a story you'd like to share, email storytime@scarish.com. I almost forgot it. You can also go to scarish.com, the website, and go to contact us, send it that way. You can tweet at us at ScarishPod. Instagram is at ScarishPodcast. And if you want to message us on Facebook, which is one of the easiest ways to get a hold of us, go to facebook.com/ScarishPodcast. We also have some community stuff that you can join in on. Our Facebook page has a Scarish Spooky Friends group that you can access through our page. And join in there. There's a bunch of memes. We post a bunch of creepy stuff, some stuff that'll eventually be topics as well. You can also go and join our Discord. If you go to scarish.com, scroll down, and you will see links to all of our social medias. Find the Discord icon, click on that, and you will be joining us in Discord. We have a bunch of chat channels. We have a Game of Thrones one that's really fun to join in on. We have Dad Jokes Corner, which makes me laugh every single day. We have Not So Spooky Memes.
There's a haunted Hill House.
There's a lot of stuff. For those of you who like to share memes with your friends, that meme channel is gold. It really is. It's phenomenal. So those are the different places that you can find us. Robin, if folks wanted to donate to us financially, how could they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast, and that's monthly donations. And we have tiers from $1 and up, and there are merchandise tiers where I actually hand make stuff every season and mail them out. I literally do everything.
She literally does everything by hand.
Now he can't deliver it.
I help as much as I possibly can. I edit all the episodes. Don't act like you do everything.
Yeah, but when it comes to Patreon, I usually handle all the merchandise stuff there. So
very true.
I pack it all myself. My hands have touched everything. And then there's
it's a creepy detail to include.
Coffee, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. That is one-time donations, and all those donations help us upgrade our studio setup. If you guys have been with us since the beginning of all our live shows, you'll notice that the quality has improved, and that's thanks to all the donations.
Except for tonight, because of our crappy internet, which we apologize for. But to those of you who listen to the audio version, you've noticed absolutely no difference, so no big deal. But we do suggest that you join us for a live show at twitch.tv/scarishpodcast or youtube.com/scarish. It's a fun time. We interact with the chat. We let you guys know what we're thinking. We let you know what you're thinking after we read it. And a lot of times people comment on the stories that we read, and it's really good to get some instant feedback and interaction. And if you know your story is going to be on an episode, you can come watch us read it and see what we have to say, see what folks have to say live. So it's a really fun time. So I do think that's just about everything, though, that we have for episode 60 of Storytime. So we hope you folks enjoyed it. We enjoyed bringing it to you. And I'm going to go ahead and do the sign out if that's cool. Could you?
Yeah.
So keep on creeping on, folks, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.